A brand new book about Barack Obama tackles what the author calls the media-created myth of Obama, and it also looks at his ties to corrupt Chicago politics, his relationship with Tony Resco, and his claim to be the candidate of reform. Joining us now for an exclusive first look in an interview with a brand new book, it's the case against Barack Obama, the unlikely rise and unexamined agenda of the media's favorite candidate, National Review Online. Our KALO friend, political reporter, David Freddoso. David, welcome aboard. Good to see you.
Thank you.
We love everything that's going on there. You say, you talk about this. He's a shrewd, machine-aligned politician from Chicago who will make no waves and won't back no losers.
That's right, and those are the words actually of John Cass of the Chicago Tribune. The Chicago press understands Senator Obama very well. That the idea of him as a reformer is a great lie, that there isn't anything in his record that you can point to where he stood up, where he took a chance in order to support the cause of positive change.
Yeah.
Senator Obama has made the alliances he had to make to get ahead, and that included the Daily Machine. It included other politicians in Chicago.
Right.
It's included in Chicago, in Springfield, and in Washington, various endorsements and active support for the same kinds of corrupt systemic arrangements that we've all come to know in government. We talk about special interests. Senator Obama generally supports those arrangements.
Is that why we see this pattern of political expediency and changing any position and saying whatever he needs to say to get elected?
I think that's absolutely true. In fact, I go out of my way to make that case in the case against Barack Obama,
right,
that in many cases you do see Senator Obama taking a position based on expediency. For one thing, his decisions about what should be done on the ground in Iraq often come based a lot on the political calendar in the United States.
What I like about the book, you spent a lot of time talking about Obama-Messiah. There is undoubtedly a religious component to Obama mania, and then you go into a lot of detail that he's a stealth liberal.
Yes, and in fact, if you take the time to look at Senator Obama's votes, if you look carefully at his record, you see that he really is a very doctrinaire liberal. He is not swayable in the way that he portrays himself. At the same time, he's able to express himself and to give this give this impression of open-mindedness that I don't believe is for real.
Hey, David,
and in fact, the record doesn't bear it out.
Some of the issues I have with your book. First of all, in the introduction to the book, when I put it up on the screen, you talk about him basically getting everybody else off the ballot when he's running for local office. You say
that's right.
Obama will throw all of his opponents off the ballot on a technicality so that these voters have no choice but to elect him.
That's right.
But then you quote on page 2 of the book, Chicago Tribune, that you mentioned earlier, some of the problems include registered voters signed the petitions but don't live in the 13th district.
That's
so
true.
They would be breaking the law. One other thing, in the same Chicago Tribune article that you quote, you talk about G.S. Esquella, and you quote the Chicago Tribune that refers to him as a perennially unsuccessful candidate, acknowledging he paid the Democratic Party workers $5 a sheet and that they forged signatures. And so on one hand, you're accusing him of forcing people off the ballot, but the Chicago Tribune story that you referenced basically says these people were breaking the law.
They weren't breaking the law.
Forging signature?
Well, okay, the signature gatherers who forged signatures were breaking the law. The candidates who were trying to be on the ballot and appear and give the voters a choice weren't breaking the law. When Senator Obama had them thrown out, he actually went and had his volunteers.
The Election Commission did it based on the fact that they didn't follow the law.
Well, they challenged all the petitions, and what happened was they actually took the time. Obama's volunteers took the time to take. Oh, I think it's fascinating. They took a perennial candidate, a hopeless, no chance candidate, and they actually took the time to challenge more than 1,000 signatures.
But they also challenged Alice Farmer, who I quoted earlier, that you yourself, according to your own contradiction in the book on page 2.
How is that a contradiction?
Because you say first that he was basically forcing people off the ballot. Then you say, suggesting that he was doing it illegally.
I didn't suggest that he did it illegally, Alan, or underhandedly.
And then you
what
that he was playing dirty politics.
What I said was that the man who campaigns on hope and change and tries to make us less cynical about politics, Alan, is the same guy who won his first election by denying the voters a choice. It was perfectly legal. He had every right to do what he did.
According to your own reporting, they didn't live in the district, these people.
Some of them didn't. In some cases, there was a woman who signed the petition with her married name, but she was registered to vote under her maiden name.
Right.
There were a lot of cases where people printed their name instead of signing it. There were a lot of different cases. The petitions may very well have been bad signatures. That's all. That's all true.
Illegal.
But if you read The Audacity of Hope by Senator Obama, he portrays this election as if he told people you should be less cynical about politics, and they loved his speech and they elected him.
Anyway, we got to run, David. Thank you very much for being here tonight.